welcome to the TMT Stock Market Strategy video for Friday, December 16th. Okay, we have monthly expiration that expires today, so I don't think anything's going to happen but more gains to the upside, slow grind higher. We've had 6 weeks of gains from the Trump rally that continues. Slow grind, no volume, no conviction to the buy side with money coming out of the market. Is that insane? Not only the fact that the dollar has exploded, you could see that right here. Interest rates are rising. VIX at all-time lows. The Russell 2000 is now the most shorted ever since the instrument has been created, as well as the VIX. So, guys, if you don't think that there's something brewing, be very careful. That's all I could say. Not saying not to go short, not saying not to go long. At TMT here, we're trend traders, so we follow the trend, and we'll continue to look for high probability trades, especially when you're at all-time highs, extremely extended, a fully valued market. That's when you have really patience, extreme amount of patience to really make sure that you're getting into that high probability trade, not just a trade, okay? You have a couple of weeks left. Tax selling has not occurred. And it hasn't been here. Usually we get some good selling come in. We haven't had that at all. We've had no selling, and that's another big concern of mine. When the time comes to sell, does everybody hit the sell button? So just be careful at that. That's all I'm saying. Not saying to sell all your stakes in stocks and buy treasuries. All I'm saying is be very careful. We have bonds that have been crushed, and like I mentioned in many videos, yes, there have been money that comes out of bonds that go into equities, but with a big rising interest rate environment that we've had, believe me when I tell you that more than anything, money flows out of the high yield investment products, not just equities. Okay, especially when you have a fully valued market. There's no discount here to be buying equities. Okay, so just be careful. And also the dollar. Here's the dollar. Like I mentioned way down here back in the summer, I said if you think the dollar is out, think again. And sure enough, we have an explosive move in the dollar, which is going to hurt the multinationals. There's nothing good about a strong dollar in anyone's country. That's why they always like to devalue their dollar or their currency, excuse me. So let's just be careful out there, okay? At any given moment, one bad news and it's all over. And remember what I also mentioned about the Trump administration to be is very similar to the election of Reagan, and we were down 22% at one point. So, which is really welcomed, believe it or not. It would be welcome because the market needs to purge. There's just too much euphoria of one-sided. Just buy the market. Just buy the market. Okay, you're at almost 20,000 in the Dow. You're at almost 2,300 in the S&P. It's just crazy what's going on out there. And as a technician that knows what's going on, and you see it, you're like, wow, I can't believe that this is actually still occurring. But anyway, let's call it like it is, and let's trade the high probability trade setups. VIX, just want to show you here that we are at these complacent lows, and we have the Bollinger Bands that are really starting to tighten. So what happens is if we can get price to go break out of that band and close back in the band, that's going to be a buy signal for the VIX. It'll be a sell signal for equities. We do have some positive divergence in RSI and MACD, as well as our CCI. So just want to give you a heads up on what the VIX is doing. Next is going to be crude oil. We mentioned that we had an outside day reversal, and some of you shorted crude. Me personally, I was looking for a little bit more of a better setup, but I'm looking at stocks. I'll be looking at shorting the stocks instead of the crude oil itself at this time. But many of you trade commodities. So you could see our momentum indicators are rolling over. So this would actually still be inclined, excuse me, for a better short entry than a long entry. And this is going to be our secondary target here, is that $49 we talked about. That needs to hold, otherwise we break back down to the 50. But anything, we did get a nice long-legged doji here, so let's see what happens today. Remember, guys, today's going to be very, very tricky. I personally do not like to trade monthly expiration, just in general, because there's a lot of shenanigans that go on between the specialists and market makers trying to protect their book. Remember, lots of puts and calls get sold and get sold, meaning written naked by these specialists, and they need to protect their book. So Usually the path of least resistance is up, so just want to let you guys know. So take a look. We look for some possible long trades and see where we go from here for today. Gold hit our first target, okay, or close to the first target. And when you're trading gold, $3 or $4 is not going to make a difference. But if you are into the gold, if you're a gold bug, here's going to be your first target right here. And I think it goes lower. I think that there's a lot of still weak longs in there, and I think the weak longs are holding in. And then once that breaks, we should break lower again. I want to see the big flush, the real big flush. You could see here. We're coming into some good supply here, some good support. But once we get that big flush, I think we'll be able to look to buy these even lower. But I'm really excited about gold, guys, and I'm really liking gold where it is at the moment. But I do think it goes lower. So if you're looking to, you don't want to miss the move on the breakup. I don't think you are. Trust me. There's a lot of, I mean, this chart is nothing good about it. There's nothing bullish about it, and you don't want to catch a falling knife. But if you have a budgeted amount of dollars that you want to put into your portfolio, nibbling a little here, a little there, is not going to hurt it. That's actually averaging in, and that you'd probably get a decent price to do so. Next is going to be the GDX, and as you can see, we talked about our breach here. Next will be that 76.8% retracement of 16.5. So I'm looking at around $16 to $17 and see where it stops. And when I say these price targets, remember, when I say, look, I'm looking around $16, $17, and that would interest me. What has to happen is we need to have a backing and filling process, right? So we need to go like this, price go up and down, and create some sort of a sideways consolidation, and then let price take out a current swing high, and then a quick little back test. That's, to me, tells me I have a lower high from this previous high, and we are indeed now starting to break out from a downward slope, meaning bearish symmetry. Okay, so there's a little bit of a process to buy something into weakness, all right? And why? Because we could just continue lower, right? We could just go down, and we teach this here at TMT. If you have price going this way, right, and we're sideways, and all of a sudden price does not take out a local swing high within this horizontal range, she could break down and go down to the next phase, like it did here. You could see 1, 2, 3 times. So this is something that you do not want to happen. And then it gets to the 1080. Now you own it at 1120. So you're 40 points away, and now you're getting hurt while you waited all of this time. You do not want to do that, okay? So that's just a little small class here. I just wanted to show you guys. GLD, same thing. You could see here, 107. Our first target is hit. And again, this is not, for me, this is not anything bullish at all. We are outside the Bollinger Band. We need to close back in, fill the gap, and start to move higher. And even then, has a lot of work to do, okay? But you could see here, 105 is going to be the next spot. Let's look at the indexes. The indexes are just ridiculous. I'll be honest with you. I personally could care less if it goes up and or down, and obviously I want it to go up more than down because there's a lot of people that are invested in the market. What concerns me is that the pundits, they don't just say what's really behind the scenes, what's going on. It just says keep buying and buying and buying. And then what happens if this was going on to the downside, everybody would be up in arms. And this is what's going to happen eventually. It's going to take shape. So just, again, be careful out there. Not the day trader, but more of these swing trader, the investor, long-term investor. Don't look to buy stocks up here. If you are going to buy stocks, just hedge your position. You can see that we're grossly overbought, and it isn't a sell signal, but we're overbought, and it's something to keep an eye on. Okay, and tax selling could happen at any given moment. Remember, T+3, trade day plus 3 days, and that's going to be probably going to the end of it. You have a couple more weeks, obviously, to hold out positions until then. Negative divergence played out here. We talked about this a couple days ago. We are starting to roll over here, so we should see some negative movement to the downside. And this is just a 60-minute I wanted to show you. And again, we really haven't gone anywhere, guys. Here's the Russell hanging in there. But again, there's no pullback. We had 2 days sideways, 1 day down, 1 day back up, so we haven't gone anywhere. So I'm still looking for 38% retracement, and then I'm looking for ultimately a 61.8. I'm looking for at least to return to fill this gap and this gap down here, okay? And then we would reevaluate it. And even then, you're still overbought in the IWM. I do think IWM is going to be a good long trade. not here at those levels, up 15% in less than 2 months. I wouldn't touch it. But I would like to see IWM come back in again in 2017 and build a small position in the IWM. Because if Trump is going to be good for business, obviously small business, that's what the IWM is for. Next is your daily Qs. We did break out of that range a little bit, but we're kind of consolidating again, so really not much movement out of there. Let's see what happens today. I think it's going to be a yawner. Next week should be very interesting going into the Christmas holiday week, and then the week after should be extremely, um, well, I should say quiet, extremely quiet. But we haven't had any selling yet, so I wouldn't rule out no selling, no tax selling yet. Have a great day. Enjoy the weekend, guys.